meeting to order today. First, we're going to have our public hearing concerning the USDA, but then we'll have our regular Buhl City Council meeting for Tuesday, April 2nd, 2019. So we'll call the meeting to order. I guess I'll turn it over to you and Ryan.
Can we do roll call first?
Oh, you want roll call too? Yep. Okay.
Councilor Lehman.
Here.
Councilor Marcus.
Here.
Councilor Keekly.
Here.
Councilor Milich.
Here.
Mayor Clarich.
Here. Okay, we'll now move into the public hearing part. Welcome, John and Ryan. I'm sure you guys will be talking back and forth and discussing things with us. Welcome, John.
Yeah, thank you. This is a public hearing. This is one of the requirements for USDA, the primary funding agency for our project. And again, it's the opportunity for the public to, hear the project and address comments to the council. In summary, the project is the same as what we've been working on, applying for funding for $5.4 million project. Basically, he's going to replace all the old cast iron and less than 4-inch water lines in town and all the old clay sewers. It's about 13,000, a little over 13,000 feet of water line replacement and 8,500 feet of sewer replacement. Some of this is related to the capital improvement plan that the city's been working on over the last 10 years. We've been updating it over the years, and it got to a point that instead of doing like a one block project at a time, let's try maybe look at doing the entire, needed improvements throughout the city, and that's what this project does. There's a handout that kind of lists all the projects and a map. I think you may all have that in front of you.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Can you hand those out, Ryan? We got a bunch of things. There you go.
We had a similar public hearing back in February that the requirements was that one was for the MPCA and getting on the intended use plan for funding opportunities for the wastewater portion through the MPCA. Another item that the project does address is the I&I issue. We've been working with the sewer district and addressing their concerns on additional flow, so replacing a lot of the sewers that were cleaned and televised last spring, done by the sewer districts. We got some good information on the condition of a number of the sewer lines. So, again, this is the total project cost, $5.4 million. We've got applications out to a few local agencies. We got a grant from the IRRB, a grant from CDBG for the project. We've got pending applications into USDA, which is a federal government for grant and loan. And coming up here on June, there's a deadline for an MPCA called a WIF application, Wastewater Infrastructure Fund, that we'll also be applying for. Again, this was kind of the same handout we had in February. The second page has the project schedule. I think on the USD funding, we had a March 2019 deadline. I think we're real close on that. Don't you agree, Ryan?
Yeah.
We're into stage 2. It's actually a 4-stage application, but when we get completed through stage 2, we should get a letter of conditions from USDA that's going to kind of outline what they review as the grant and loan split for the project. They've got this preliminary engineering report. They're reviewing it, and we haven't heard back from them. That's one of the application items, is to have them review the engineering report. They've got the environmental report. There's some, I think that's legal services agreements, just a requirement. They want to just make sure that the city has a legal counsel available for any issues or review contracts and things like that. And you could get one from the auditor. I actually
Yeah.
emailed you, Ryan, our engineering contract in the form USDA wanted, but it's not March 19, maybe we're hoping April. Maybe, it might even be pushed to May, but, soon we expect to hear from USDA on, again, being the primary funding source for the project. With anticipated bidding in August yet of 2019, maybe start late this fall, 2019. It would be about a 1-year, 18-month construction project, so. That's kind of a quick summary of the project. I don't know if there's any questions or comments at this time, or any.
Well, it's laid out, and the map shows everything. I mean, we went through this quite in good detail in February, so, I don't know, that's just questions from the council. Ryan, do you have any things you wanna let us know about, or?
No, you could just see on the memo that I have in front of you that there's just a couple more items that we're completing. I mean, the public hearing we're having today, the legal services, the council will take up later on in this meeting. Our auditor signed off on our accounting system, and I was able to we needed a letter stating the city could bond from a certified bond council, and that happened to be Freiberger Law Office out of Duluth. So all those items were completed, so.
John, what time do you think from the original motion to vote for how big of the project we're gonna do, whether it be all of it or 80%, 90%, and 10%, that depends on what we get for money. How long does that process take from then getting it published in the paper, receiving the bids, opening, about a month?
Well, we would have to actually, the design part of the project's gonna take about 3 months. Come out, and we have to design all the various components and get that.
Before going out to bid?
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay.
So that's probably about a 3-month period. It's not that complex of a project. It's replacing water and sewer and restoration, so it's not like, I don't anticipate a lot of questions or, detailed questions on a design. Everything's gonna be probably within, or will be within public right-of-ways, so we don't have any easements or right-of-way issues to deal with. Sometimes that can hold up a project, so, if we get notice April, May, 3 months after that might be July, August, so, we might be able to bid something late this fall.
Okay, that would be nice.
Yeah, that's
Be
our
ready to
goal
go.
still,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, John, if you're gonna be bidding this in the fall, you're gonna run into extra costs for winter time, or?
Well, no, we always would limit shutdown periods, say November 1st, or when, you can't dig, or the ground's frozen where you can't backfill, and that would basically shut things down for the winter months and start up in the spring of 2020. So we're not paying any winter cost to make the contractor heat anything or keep anything thawed during the winter months.
And if it runs too late, a lot of times you don't get good bids towards the end of the year,
Right.
or you don't get a lot of bids either.
But I mean, when we advertise it, we'll tell them, if it's gonna be, say, in August or September, knowing this might be a good, start in the spring of 2020 project, so people would hopefully consider that when they're putting their bids together.
Yeah, make
I
that
want
as the
to
original one
anticipate-
for the.
Yeah, I wouldn't anticipate much completed, maybe
Okay.
a few of the blocks, and that's a detail we could work out. We could even dictate, well, which areas do we want them to work on, in case they don't get the restoration done over the winter. Could be a couple of the alleys, or, something to consider on phasing the project too, but majority of it would be completed in 2020. And again, it all depends on the funding. I think we got an email from Tyler saying that their funding was good at the
Yeah.
federal level. That was about a month or so ago, wasn't it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I mean, assuming we're putting these out in bids in one contractor could be over here and one contractor could be over there, because one contractor's not gonna,
No, we would let it as one contract,
oh,
yeah.
Probably get a better deal that way, not?
Well, somebody'd sub for someone and
Yeah. We would kind of set up a schedule that's reasonable, you know.
we'd have a construction meeting with them and we'd just go from there.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah. One, you know, it's working with, again, the agencies, federal government, they've got bidding documents and a lot of paperwork associated with, even after bids are received, you gotta take some time to award a contract. Not a lot of time, but probably from bidding to awards another month, just the way it works.
we're kind of held hostage by the government with USDA and how quickly they can process and award, so
yeah.
we have to live within their schedule that they give to us, so.
Hopefully Jordan comes through and gets us some USDA money,
Yeah.
because pretty much by adjusting our utility rates and what he's been asking for us, we should be in line for
Yeah.
around 50%.
Yeah, the sewer rates were close to what the affordability was when we started this, so, you know, we hit that threshold, and that's that supplemental grant through state of Minnesota, the WIF grant, wastewater infrastructure. They work with USDA, you know, because there's some gap, what the city can afford, and their program will only fund, is it 45% grant?
Yeah.
But the state of Minnesota might pick up the balance to keep it affordable, you know, if we pay for it through user fees.
So even our, no, I won't say that.
Well, we can't close this, I mean, it's all, because I don't see we have on the agenda. We
Yeah,
just-
you can just go right into the reports from department heads, if that's,
We could do some, yeah, I mean, some other visiting, but, any other questions or further comment for any of the council members?
Well, I have one, if we don't get the adequate funding, how are you prioritizing what gets done and what doesn't? I know these are all basically in poor condition. And I guess that poor condition goes from what, 0 to 5 years?
Yeah.
But how are you prioritizing that then? Is it just,
Well,
Our
we-
utility rate increase is covering most of this project. So,
I mean, our priority when we looked at this, there's alleys that have both water and sewer. You know, we'd wanna not go in and do just a sewer line, we'd wanna, you know, get both utilities and streets. You know, State Street, for example, is on the list, it's got both water and sewer. You don't wanna go in there and dig one of them, so that, I think it would take some input from the city on other priorities, but that's one thing to consider, is that if we go into an area that's got bad water and sewer, we wanna do them both and get them done with, and, you know. That front page kinda shows that, what the costs are, for example, especially down in, second edition and Memorial edition on the bottom. And there's old water and sewer on Robert Street, Pennsylvania Avenue. That whole Memorial edition got water and sewer in all the streets and alleys, so that's, you know, that would be a priority, is that, you know, not necessarily do all the water and not do the sewer, you know, look at tackling utilities that exist in both, you know, in the area at the same time.
in that State Street for the width that it is, when that's put back together, does that have to be that wide?
no,
Can we, you know,
we'll run a curb line 10 feet, and that's where they are anyhow.
Well, that was, you know, that's a discussion we could have, is how do we put State Street back together? You know, because it is so wide.
that is a wide street. It'll probably save some money by not, you know, as
Yeah.
far as the paving of it when it comes back together.
Yeah. When USDA looks at these projects and they cost, they wouldn't pay for the entire rebuild of State Street. They would just pay for
or
you
cut.
know, the area, say 20 feet wide or 25 foot wide to do the utilities, that have got water and sewer, you know, so it's, and that's really kind of an exception to most streets, because it's so wide, you know.
Yeah,
You know, if we go down Robert Street, that's what, I believe 30 feet wide, you know, the utilities are gonna force that to be, you know, completely rebuilt.
Well, this little piece right here between the fire hall and Billy's Bar, you don't have it on here, but that's gotta be replaced. From right on top of the hill, to go down one block, you have new lines down on State Street, but from Forest to State on Jones, that should be blued there.
Well, we need to, I guess we'll talk about that some more, because when before we finalize this report, we had a meeting, we kind of discussed some of them that we, you know, were less of the priorities, and that piece between Forest and State Street on Jones was, well, it's a, you know, it's a 6-inch water line, but, you know, do we replace it? So there was a couple that that was one of them, John.
We'll look at everything
Yeah,
as a last.
I mean, this can change a little bit. Things can be added, some of it can be deleted, you know, we actually have the French Street water line in here. You know, that's,
Pump house.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But we have a nice contingency there too, 10%, but once again, you don't know what you're gonna run into in some places. We may find some, who knows what. Okay, I don't have any further questions. Anybody else? If not, we'll just close the public hearing, and the next step on that will be coming up to approve the attorney contract, so.
Yep.
Thank you, John, and then we're just waiting for, it is April, I mean, we're hoping for something pretty quick. We just finished up with March, so. Okay, I can just keep on moving right along. I'm
Just keep on
assuming,
going.
so. Okay. Number 4 that we're on now, it's reports from the department heads. There's no one here from Public Works. Fire and ambulance, Stu, you got any comments?
There's nothing.
Okay. John, engineer, is there anything outside of this big project? That's the main thing that you're dealing with now, okay? The attorney is not present. We will be approving a contract then later for the USDA stuff. Long range planning and zoning, did they meet? I don't,
This coming Tuesday.
This coming
Or
Tuesday.
next Tuesday.
and who's on that again? Both of you, okay. So we'll get a report couple of weeks.
I think Bobish is on there.
Gene Matthew,
Gene Matthews,
Gary Ross.
Gary Ross.
Get a lot of similar ones to beat it then.
Right.
Okay. Recreation Board, any updates on that, Stuart?
No, we haven't had a meeting.
Still looking for members.
Or yeah, if anybody's interested in
Okay.
becoming a member of the board for recreation, please come to City Hall and
Sign up.
sign up.
On that note, I'm gonna call Larry Hagstein and have him look at the dump to put a slide down the hill that comes out on that big north baseball, or the west baseball field for the winter time,
Oh, okay.
snow slide. We've looked at this before, and right now there's mine reclamation money. You know where the dump is, and then top for the baseball field? Well, there'd be a slot in there that we'd open up and knock them trees down, and then we have the parking lot's right there.
Who actually owns that dump, the land?
That's mine reclamation. I mean,
But somebody's gotta be, because there's liability to this. Whatever we're gonna do, we gotta make sure that
It's
our attorney
within-
and
It
we look
should
into
be
all
city
that.
property.
Yeah, it's within the area of the disc golf, so.
yeah.
I think that's a great idea, don't get me wrong, I just, I'd have to know what kind
I
of
mean, you go by
maintenance we'd have
Cloquet and you
with
go
that.
by Hibbing,
Well, that one, yeah.
I mean, they're used heavily,
Emily.
and
We used to have Big Hill when I was a
We
kid.
get Larry just to
the
go there.
junior
and-
golf course,
Yeah.
they got one there too.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Like I say,
Is that a grant? We have to make an application
You have
for a
to-
grant then?
Yeah,
Well, that's
there's
not
my
that
direct
hard.
money out there,
Okay, no problem with that.
so.
Didn't we,
Just gonna give him a call.
last,
Well, you're talking about roads the last time.
oh, that was still a recreation grant that we haven't got. Did we get that or what?
I've had a few meetings with Jim Plummer and I forget her last name, Johnson. Basically, from talking to them and from talking to Jamnik, they want more of a comprehensive plan put together. So that was maybe the next step to go after all this USDA.
I know you've been working hard on that, so.
But yes, I've been in contact with.
That was a 50 matching 50/50 grant, so.
Okay. Well, I'm sure it'll be welcome, so, yeah. So we'll just, hopefully we can get this USDA thing kind of put to bed so we know where we're at, so we can look at that and maybe get something in for the Mineland reclamation. I have no problem with that, so. Anything else on rec then?
Nope.
Okay, let's look at the library board. We don't have a report from them. Beta met. Paul, you're the chair, but you
No,
weren't
I
there.
was not there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I think it was a short meeting, so.
Yeah, it was only bills and.
Yeah.
We
Bills and
talked
a,
about a few things, but
bills and a swap donation.
there's really wasn't anything new on the horizon for the public to be aware of. We have a sheriff's report that will be posted in the
Yep.
city hall starting tomorrow probably, okay? Ryan Clerk, you have anything you wanna?
Just,
Digress
I've been
on?
busy with the USDA grant and then also, Bonnie started her audit yesterday, so this past week, Diane and I were getting all the information together for her and things
Is she
like
here
that.
doing that or?
Yes.
She may be here tomorrow and then she'll be here all of next week. She won't be here Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
I talked to her today.
Central Iron Range Sanitary Sewer System, I gave a report last time, we were on a meeting for another 6 weeks, so.
I had a question about that today. When I was on the board there last year today, they were talking about hiring somebody. Do you know if they did? They're gonna, cause they have 2 full-time guys they're gonna.
That hasn't been a conversation for the 2 meetings I've been at.
Well, Overstar is a stand-in.
Well, yeah, it's part-time, but
Yeah.
they were talking about,
Yeah, I
having
remember
3
that,
full-time guys.
It was kinda something maybe out of the schools. I suggested, cause Ely has a class. Those guys could get hours.
Oh,
We
okay.
pay them a few bucks and get some training. Cause our plant is.
We didn't have discussion on that both last 2
Well,
meetings.
this
so.
was last fall,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, it's not on here, but I know the Public Utilities Commission met. Was there anything that came out of that? We should know.
Well, most basically it was talking about these empty buildings that are tied to the system and it is what it is. We talked about as we go down their alley or by their structure, if they don't want to be hooked up, we can, when we do that, we just don't hook them up.
Providing they're on the, what's gonna
Well, if
be
they're,
done.
yeah. Like the old highway grocery. When we go by there, down, when we do the alley, we can take the water and sewer out, and then he doesn't have to worry about paying utilities.
Well, that's, as we move along then with that USDA
Or some of these
project.
buildings, if they tear them down or take them down, the empty lots are an empty lot. We're not,
Can do anything special for that.
no, I mean, they would get by without paying their utilities that way. So there's a couple options out there, but it's gonna take, till next summer, next fall. If they wait for us, when we go
Right.
down that alley, just buzz right by it if you don't want utilities on your building. So, that was kind of about it.
Okay. Next time we'll move on to item number 5, council additions to the agenda, and we do have one, and that's to make this USD and attorney agreement happen. So we're gonna add 8F, and that will be USDA agreement between the city and our city attorney. And then that will make us move the current 8F other to 8G, and that's the only changes I have for the agenda. Do you have anything else, Ryan? Nope. So that's it. Is there a
No,
motion?
I don't know if you have to add that, but I'd just like to bring up about putting these security cameras around town.
We can do that with at the end when we have,
Okay.
that'll be our 8G, yeah, and I'd like to have that discussion also, so. Okay, then, is there a motion to approve the agenda as amended?
I'll make a motion.
Okay, moved by Stuart, is there support?
Support.
Support by Paul, further comment or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion is carried. We'll now move on to citizens forum. Anybody that wishes to address the council? Gary, got anything?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you, I wonder if you could check with, Silver Bay and see how many people are on a waiting list for that veterans home? And is there any way a person could get all the veterans on the range and the falls and see if we could still get one here? I know, like you say, we're within, Chisholm's so close, but like you say, they're putting a park down in Duluth now, and they need a home before a park. All the old timers, we can't, where are we gonna go?
I guess that we have to find out, there's gotta be a point of contact.
Yeah,
To start this with,
Right.
within, I don't know if it's in the region, but I'd say probably within the state. So we've gotta look and see if we can find a starting place. Cause we'll be addressing later about the Buhl school, that mental health thing's not gonna work, I'll address that later. But, we can look and see, just a point of contact to see where would you go first, I don't, and then we can go and talk to the legislators, both federal and state, and go from there. I think that's an excellent idea, and I'll just let the follow settle from this last one, and we'll just, we'll keep going. I know that we still have it, out there, people know that it's, we're looking for something, we have a realtor that's handling everything, so we'll try to tie all this together, but maybe we'll have to pursue and try to get someone, through the veterans when I say state organization or federal organization, maybe to come and take a look, see where it goes from there. That's all we can do with that, so. It is a need, there is absolutely no
Yeah,
doubt.
there's a need, right.
Okay, anything else? Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. 7A, the minutes, the regular city council meeting of March 19th, 2019. 7B are the claims, payroll number 7, $12,371.03. March payroll, $2,050. The accounts payable, $35,003.97 for a total of $49,425. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda, including the minutes and the claims?
Also move that we approve the consent agenda.
Moved by John,
Support.
support by Paul. Any comments or questions from anyone? I noticed we had a $15 add-on in there too from Diana, so you all had that handout, so. Well, hearing nothing else, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion is carried. We'll now move into the business portion of our meeting. Spring cleanup dates, discussion, approve and reject. I did talk to Ryan before this. We're gonna go with the dates of June 10th through the 13th. I know in your packet it says the 3rd through the 6th, but we had a conflict with our employees, I believe, wasn't it, Ryan?
Yeah, there's some training coming up
Some
that
training, so
week, so.
we don't wanna do for that. And then it's also, it's gonna be with items paid for by the 31st, but it's a yearly service we do provide. I'm just gonna go with the comments that Ryan gave me. So we're gonna go, the motion will be for those dates, June 10th through the 13th, with items paid for by the 31st. We will put information around town, and residents will be provided the information by a newsletter prior to the cleanup dates. And I'll tell you what, that's coming fast. That's 2 months from now, basically, so. And I think people should take advantage of it, because the blight ordinance was revisited last year, and I believe rewritten and passed by the council. And we'll be enforcing that about that time of the year. So that would be a good time for people to, things that do qualify for this cleanup. And if not, things that don't, they should be starting to think about doing that. I know there's a pretty good snow cap still at this late in the day, in April, but something we want the public to know, and I will comment about that as I close yet tonight too. So, is there a motion to approve the spring cleanup dates of June 10th through the 13th with items paid for by May 31st?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
can we change with the items paid for by the 8th?
Oh, I'm
instead
sorry.
of the- 31st.
Yeah, you didn't, I didn't have that. By the 8th?
Yep, June of June.
Yep, June 8th. I apologize to everyone on that.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Stuart, is there support?
I'll support.
Support by Jim. Any further comments on this? First time I've been involved at this level with this, so. It's pretty straightforward, seems to work well.
I think we got a lot of stuff, from residents, scrap metal, and
Yeah, there's a few things that we don't pick up, but not much. Most of it we pick up.
Okay. And they start picking up like right away in the morning on the days? And
Yeah.
Yeah.
they just do a run around through town? Perfect. Okay, further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, motion is carried. Next on the agenda is the Summer Street hires posting, and the recommendation is, no, these are still good dates for all of this now, right, Ryan?
Yeah,
We're
these
talking
are,
about the street hires posting starting April 8th, with applications due on May 10th. Information regarding the posting will be available throughout the town and in an upcoming newsletter, so we'll keep the public informed on that. This is another project that's worked quite well. I know that we have some discussion on this, so I'll entertain a motion first so we can get into discussion. Is there a motion to approve the dates of April 8th to the 10th for the Summer Street positions?
We'll make that
Okay,
motion.
motion by Paul, is there support?
I'll support.
Supported by Stuart. Now, is there any discussion about, John, I know we talked a little bit about something prior to that for some of the
Well-
workers.
We got some, usually we hire kids, we get 6 kids, 4 kids. Last year, I think we had 6. And we hired 3 for 2 weeks, and then 3 for 2 weeks, and then we bring back the first 3 for 2 weeks. Well, I wanna just give Trent and our clerk permission to, some kids don't work out. So if we give them their time and they're not working out, and then we give the other kids time, the second round is usually we bring back the kids that help us out.
Kind of merit system, you have to
Yeah,
earn
that's
the
right.
skill, so you have to put forth
So
a
it's-
good effort.
It's not a summer schedule. We give the kid the opportunity, show what he can do or how, what his attitude is. And then we hire the other couple of kids, and then basically the third round or 4th round or whatever, it depends on how many kids sign up. We
That only seems fair, and we'll let everybody know that
call
up
back
front,
the
that's how
kids
that
that-
works.
work out.
Okay.
What is the age group for this?
Usually we try to keep it at, we've hired retirees, but we try to keep it at kids that are going to school. Whether it's college
From like
or
16,
or high
I think.
school.
I mean, do they
Minimum age
need a
must be
driver's
16.
license?
Yeah, that was one of the requirements. They kind of laxed off in the last few years. Because we always had, you had to have your license, yeah.
Well, we gotta make sure that that's in the posting, so.
Yeah.
How long, when does this program start and when does it end? I'm new to all of this.
I'm guessing it's gonna start on the 10th when we have
Well-
alley cleanup.
Yeah, I mean,
They help out.
the goal, I mean, the applications will just be to do May 10th. The council's still gonna have to make a motion at next meeting to
Okay.
hire these. But we want the applications due because usually we coordinate OSHA training with Mountain Iron.
Yeah.
And that's usually
Okay.
sometime towards the end of May and then everybody will probably start like that first full week in June.
Okay, yeah.
Once
because
school's out.
Our cleanup's the second week, so.
Yeah.
And then it'll run till mid-July, is that what I'm hearing?
Well,
No, first 10th of June till middle of August at least, maybe the end of August.
usually June through August. 16 years or older, preferences are
Okay.
usually given to Buhl residents.
Well, I would hope so. Okay. I'm not first on that, and we'll have the stuff coming out in a newsletter and published around town, so. All those in favor of the, any further comment before we, all those in favor of the motion, go ahead, Jim.
What is their rate of pay?
It's standard, it's
Minimum wage.
$9.85 or $10.
$9.86 is minimum
Yeah.
wage.
96, okay. How many hours a day?
7.
7.
7, okay, that's,
We used to try to get them to come
I'm
to
gonna
work
sign
at
up.
7 when the rest of us come in. But we had a hard time doing that.
okay. And that's
So
fine.
we said 8 o'clock. And then we had a hard time sometime with that. But after And Trent knows that, you know, they get a couple strikes, they come in late, they don't come at 8 o'clock, they come after 8. And about the second or third time, we don't fire them, but we tell them go home.
As
You
long
know,
as, yeah, I just,
Next time, be here at 8 o'clock or 10
as long as
to
they're
8.
given a warning what can happen after X amount of time,
Usually
that's
give them a
fine.
couple strikes and,
Okay, perfect.
yeah. But,
Anything else?
Yeah, 7 o'clock didn't work.
All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion's carried. Now we'll move on to 8C. Flip the page here. Okay, our ambulance certificates of deposit. This is discussion. Currently, the ambulance fund has a $301,511 balance in its checking account, which has an interest rate of 0.05%. Ryan did some work with the First National Bank of Buhl, and we were given a CD rate offer, and Ryan has talked this with Chief McDowell, and he agrees it'd be a good idea to put the majority of the funds into CDs. So this is coming from Ryan and from the chief to put $100,000 into an 18-month CD at an interest rate of 1.10 and $150,000 in a 9-month CD at a special rate of 0.9%. Okay?
Where's the other 50,000?
Well, you leave it in
He's got to
checking.
keep some available, I would assume, for miscellaneous, whatever comes up. Now, those are not bad rates on CD. You know, I've been involved with one of the other boards I sit on with checking rates on things for short terms like this. I think that's a pretty good rate, I think. And that's nice. We're operating local within the city, so I have no problem thinking that's a great idea. So I'm just looking, the second page shows you some of that.
And you can't take this money and invest in the stock market or anything. They won't let you.
No, you've got to.
You can't throw it out there where you could lose it.
Well, the auditor would hammer us on that, so, yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, you gotta take the best deal, and that's the best deal because you can't play games with it.
And you still want to be loyal to
Well, yeah.
our
banks.
local bank. I mean, you could find a CD rate out on the internet, you can get a lot of places that pay a lot more, but this is local, it's part of our community, I would support that. I would entertain a motion then to recommend the recommendation from Ryan and Chief McDowell.
I'd so move on that.
Okay, there's a motion, is there support?
I'll support that.
Okay, support John, okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign, motion is carried. Okay, I'll just keep rolling along here, we're on to D, an actuarial study. And quite simply, during the presentation of the 2017 audit to the council, our auditor informed the city that she would recommend an actuarial study be conducted. Attaches the information and pricing regarding that study. This is a budgeted item for 2019, so it's in the budget. The company to perform the study was recommended by our auditor as well, and I'll just approve, I'm gonna make the motion to approve Van Worden and Associates to conduct the actual study. Is there support?
Support.
I'll entertain some comments. I'll let you know, I've worked with Van Worden before for several different organizations. They're very efficient at what they do. And this is a little bit different. The schools usually have to do it every 3 to 5 years, and it's an actuarial, once again, for the retiree insurance and things of that nature. So Van Worden does a good job. You get a good book that it projects everything out. It lets you know where you stand, where they're predicting it's gonna go down the road. And this is called the GASB 75. That's what the term is called for that. And they'll come in and they'll look at our stuff. They'll work with our people in the office. They'll look at our books. They'll check everything out. They'll look at our contracts, and then they push everything forward. And it works pretty well. The one question I have for you, Ryan, is, and I've got to go by my past experience, on the school, we would do it 1 year and then we'd wait 5 years and do it again, and we use that information that we have. Here I see there's a year and an off year, and I'm just questioning whether we need that off year. I don't know, because I'm a little bit new to city government.
Yeah, both Diane and I talked to Bonnie today, and yes, we would need it in the off year. Otherwise, if we don't do the study this year and next year, we will get a nick on our audit.
So this is gonna happen every year, no matter what?
No.
A year and a half year, when's the next, I didn't catch that in here. How often do we have to do this?
No, we wouldn't have to do it. It would just be this year and then the off year next year, and then we should be good for another 5.
Okay, that makes sense to me, okay. But, our auditor's recommending the
Yes.
2 year, okay.
Yeah, I talked to Bonnie this afternoon too, and they would, I even asked if she could do it, because they're our auditors, and no, this has to be done,
Independent.
yeah.
I know that, and, but this Van Warden is they're very good, very good. Efficient, they come in, very understandable report, and it'll let us know for now and down the road as we have people retire and start accessing that account, and then as people come off that account when they reach age 65, so. Further comments or questions for Ryan? I guess we'll direct most of the questions towards him right now. Anything from the council? Well then, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion is carried. Okay, now we'll move on to the Leander appraisal discussion. And what that is about for the public to know is that we own some land up on the Lake Leander area that, I guess I call a peninsula for lack of a better term up there. And we had this appraised over 10 years ago. It'd be nice to find out what it is worth in case we ever had to consider selling it or parceling it or doing anything. And just the reasons given by Ryan here, a couple of reasons for this would be to see what we have, especially with the upcoming capital improvement project and the uncertainty surrounding the school. The land could also be used as collateral for any bonding the city may do down the road. Overall, be a good information for the city to have, okay? And we did get a quote from and Frank did it previously, right?
Correct.
Frank Bigelow, and Frank graduated from Martin Hughes School. They lived right down the street here, and he's well respected across Iron Range. I worked with him on several projects also. So there's a motion here to approve the Lake Leander, I call it Lake Leander appraisal. So I'm an older
Before we
person.
do that motion, could we discuss something here?
Well, I was just gonna open up and to open it up for discussion.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
Lake Leander.
There's a motion by Stuart. Is there support? Support by Paul. Yes, now, discussion.
Okay, I have a few points here. I went through this thing, and my thought on this is, why spend the $1,500 if we aren't going to do something with this property? Use it for collateral, which was stated above, for any city project, or sell it, the whole parcel, or have it subdivided into lots, which you probably get more for individually on those lots. Then I would think over the last 10 years, this property has appreciated at least 10 to 15%. I think that's a reasonable assumption. And then another point here is the liability. Does our insurer treat this as any other city-owned property, or are we at a higher premium because of the Boy Scout usage of this property?
The cost of the city is minimal. We're not at any higher cost for insurance. The total cost for the city for this property is just over $500 per year for everything.
But we're under the city umbrella for
Yeah.
liability insurance, okay.
Now, these Boy Scouts, they just use this in the summer,
No,
It's a year round.
year-round?
Yeah.
It's mostly utilized in the winter, actually.
Oh, it is?
Me and Paul were up there.
Last fall. Fall, wasn't it? No, it was last spring, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And took a tour of it, and Boy Scouts were there, and we met with the caretaker that does all the plowing and stuff, so.
They do take good care of it, and they've been working on them older cabins. So some of, being that it would, I'm sure, be worth more today than it was 9 years ago, because they have done improvements there. It's not like they're just using it and letting
The
it
lake shore's just
go.
ballooned anyway in
And
the past 10 years.
it would be, I know at some point maybe the city wouldn't have a choice, but as long as they can keep it for what it is and use it as collateral or whatever, I think it'd be a shame to take it away from the.
Well, we could praise it and tell them, offer them to buy it.
They won't. Boy Scouts.
Well, I don't think we're looking to sell, I think we need a current appraisal, so we have this in our back
Oh, I
pocket.
don't have a
Especially if we
problem
need this
with
for bonding purposes down the road, which we're gonna have to do with this USDA project anyway. We've gotta show what we have, so, and plus it'd be nice to see what would that go for right now?
I'm just mentioning that we were up there and toured the property and, you know, they're not just squatting, they're keeping the property up.
Well, just another point here, if you look at this picture of the lodge here, I mean, does anyone know what type of pilings this building is sitting on and the condition of them? I
They're like
think-
brand new,
They're cut.
Are they?
yeah. This cabin was built, I don't remember the date, it's not that old.
It looks pretty good.
I think it's a Voyager log.
Early 90s. No, actually, Doug was here, yeah. Late 80s, early 90s, yeah.
A good
And if
place.
I'm not mistaken, did the Boy Scouts not pay to put that up?
No, no, city had that, put that up.
And how are these buildings heated? I take it with propane?
I don't think the city would have, because the city didn't buy it till 2000.
I believe it was through help with the
I
IRRB,
through
maybe
the-
through the city.
IRB gave us money to put that up.
Yeah.
And, you know, yeah, that was paid for through them. But then in 2002 or whenever it was on the auction block. Anybody sitting here or anybody in the audience could have bought that place. But I suggested to the council that let's buy it for an investment. And we were able to pull it off the market before anybody bid on it for the $115,000. And we used people's money to buy that.
Okay.
Well, my feeling is we didn't buy it. The intentions were as an investment, but then, you know, we got a new council and they were persuaded to keep it the way it was. But that's not how it was bought. Even our auditor said that what happened should have happened because you used the taxpayers' money to buy this place.
Well, that's just good background information. I know that place well. Jim Cafus bought the land right next to it, and I brushed that out for him to put that A-frame up, then Paglicetti's bought it. I don't know who owns it now, but that's prime land over there. That's as good as it gets, so,
On a peninsula, it's all sand.
yeah. So,
Didn't our meeting with Chris, wasn't there some talk that he kind of thought it would be better off as collateral down the road?
Yeah.
Than they didn't seem to like the idea of selling it.
Well, then I think we should charge them rent, just like the Med Ones pays rent on their fire right across the street. Charge them $800 a month. At least we'll get some of our investment back over 10 years.
we may have to look at that. I'm not gonna disagree.
I don't think they're, I don't know what they're able to pay, or I don't think they're against trying to help out with expenses.
Well, there's all kinds of ways to raise money. I mean, the Girl Scouts go out and sell cookies for 6 months.
They sell popcorn.
Well,
But no, all good discussion.
How are these buildings heated?
The main cabin is heated with gas. There's no power or running water or anything on this property.
Oh, I've never been there, but.
You should really go. It was quite
Field trip.
interesting.
These guys,
They'd be happy to have anybody up there. They kind of invited us last time, and Stuart and I went, and
I can't believe this summer I'm gonna take a
Yeah,
look.
stay in them little cabins.
they made us lunch, and
They're heated with wood.
they're taught a lot up there.
Didn't they go up there to?
Well, I think it's a valuable
Dig a hole in
tool
the
for
stone,
the
they can stay in
scouts,
the
right?
too.
Yeah,
You know,
like nice sport scouting.
Well,
too,
I guess
so-
I was just looking at the concern for the liability back to the city on this. And I was just wondering, like, once a year, does anybody at the city crew go up there and inspect all this stuff and bring a report back saying what is deteriorating? Because I looked in Frank's dissertation here on, if you look, where is that? Ordinary assumptions and limiting conditions, item number 5 there, the appraiser has noted in his appraisal report any significant adverse conditions such as needed repairs Is that what he's talking about, is needed repairs as far as these buildings up there, or his last?
I really couldn't answer. I mean, this
Appraisal?
was done in 2006, so.
But our insurance agent should be up there yearly, looking at that with one of the city crew and noting this.
Well, that's what I would think too, because you got a little liability back to the city here.
Right, so we'll have to make sure that our insurance company and one of our people go up there and they take a pretty good tour of that and take a look and note things. I know all of the schools that we've been involved with, that's how you operate. And you go and you take a tour of the building and you highlight what is wrong, what needs to be fixed, and what your future areas of concern may be. Ultimately, if we get sued for it, comes to
Well,
us.
the word is negligence. If you own something and somebody's using
And you
it,
know it.
and something happens, it's
Well, that-
coming back to you.
That's why we had to do the agreements last year, so that the city wasn't liable for that
See, this
type of
is
stuff.
new to me.
Agreements with the Boy
With the Boy
Scouts?
Scouts.
Yeah, but is that even worth the paper it's written on?
Well, it's legal. I don't know.
Well, I'm sure our attorney had something to do with it.
I know they've replaced, and they were working on another cabin. They replaced a lot of the bottom logs that were rotted and were leveling on the one building. You know, they are maintaining it. It's not, if they hadn't been there all these years, these buildings would just be laying on the ground.
Sure.
Well, first and foremost, in my opinion, we're looking at this, to get this appraisal, which I think we need, just to get an idea of what's it worth and everything like that, so then we can update our insurance and everything with that. I'm not out to sell that. That's not my point here. And just discussion we've gone here with the scouts, I'd like, we'll have to visit with them and so we want to head in this, what direction we want to take with that. But we have to look at that too. We're responsible for it, so we've got to take active ownership, I guess.
Well, like I say, I'd like to get some of the taxpayers' money back, whether it's they charge them rent per month or whatever.
Well, they do a lot of in-kind service, so we'd have to work this out. And I have
I
no
have it
problem with
broken
that.
down, over the last 10 years, in fact, this is their report, they put in like $5,000 of their money into it for like 10 or 12 years.
Per year or total?
And, they put up the bathrooms, we got money from IRB to put them up, they didn't come up with the money, we came up with the money, but they may have put them up.
They did
They
it,
put
one
a
of
new
those
roof on
scouts did
there.
it as a project.
They re-roofed the main lodge. It wasn't a cost to them, but they used their labor.
Okay.
I mean, there's things they've done, I'm not saying that, but it's still,
I don't think they'd have a problem maybe paying some rent, John, but it's something that there should be some meetings and
Right.
find out works for hopefully everybody, not just one day tell them you're paying this or else.
Well, I think step one is getting this appraisal first. And then I want to see that whatever agreement you signed with them, I'm going to get a copy of that, right? Just take a look. Jim, you should get one too, because these three know about it, so.
Yeah.
Whatever. And just talk to next time, Mr. Carney's here, I'm just going to ask him a couple of questions, so.
and then when they do this appraisal up there, have them do the specs, the main lodge is 40 by 50, and these other lodges are this, just some numbers, so you can,
Were those there 10 years ago? See, it's all been upgraded, so I think that should be part of that, so
Well,
we'll have to let Frank
How many
know.
buildings are up there?
I think about 3.
Well, there's 3 log cabins, there's the main lodge, and then the bathrooms. I believe
And then
that's-
the
maybe a
attic, yeah.
woodshed or something, but nothing.
Further comment? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion is carried. Okay, what do we got next on here? All good points, so that was good discussion. The next is 8F, and that's the City of Buhl and the attorney USDA agreement, which we have to do as part of the agreement with USDA, correct, Ryan?
Correct. Basically, it's just putting in writing the services that our attorney already does for us with oversight over contracts that the city may enter into. The only thing that I would note on there, he puts his hourly rate, that's the hourly rate he charges us now, so it's not any more
Yeah,
or
it's not
less.
adding to it.
It's just basically showing the USDA for our paper trail that there is a legal services agreement
Unfortunately,
in
it's a
place.
necessary evil. The expenditure, but, so I would entertain a motion to move into that agreement, which Ryan had on our desks before us. So is there a motion to approve this agreement?
Also,
Moved by Stuart, is there support?
I'll support.
Support by John. Further comment or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, same sign. The motion is carried. Now we'll move on to other business, council comments, 8G. Paul, anything you want to bring up or
Not tonight,
discuss?
thank you.
Jim,
No, I don't have anything.
Stuart,
I went to a Rams meeting last Thursday, started at 6, got done at 8 o'clock. They had a girl there from Enbridge on an update on line 3, what they want from Rams and the help they could get. Director was meeting with the county board on broadband. Met with the governor's staff. A couple other things, doing some stuff down at the Capitol. He was in touch with Gary.
yeah, they work pretty good hand in hand, so.
And then they just had a couple updates from Glenn Anderson from the city of Babbitt and Ray Mersnick from the Ely School District. And so it's a good meeting.
Okay, anything else?
Nothing.
Not, John, you're up.
Well, I just think we should start looking into some security cameras. To give Trent and Ryan, we have a contract with some guy that's gonna put antennas on a couple of our standards. He has some cameras too. Just to look into that, put some up, I mean, especially, the water tank, the old shortstop and the new shortstop. You know, somebody takes your trailer and four-wheeler and drives out of town, at least you got potentially, and then those cameras would just come back to City Hall. They would be recorded here, and if something happened, they could call and Ryan or Diana or whatever can look at that guy, you know?
There's no live feeds, that's,
No,
this came
no,
up a
these
few
are-
years ago as a resident, I didn't like that. As long as it's not a live feed that somebody's observing and watching this, I'm kind of going along with, I'm seeing now the people, the vandalism on Culver, you know, and a couple of rear view mirrors and things like that, and I know that there's been a theft, I know they've taken a trailer or a snowmobile from here once in a while,
Yeah,
so
water tank there.
it does happen, but there's only 3 major ways, what if you're hauling something on a vehicle, and
Yeah.
this way, the next day, our people can go and look at that, and if nothing else, call law enforcement and run the plate. You know, if it's legible, I mean, I don't know if it is or not, but, having that there, though, I think is a natural deterrent to crime or vandalism that would take place. If people know that, hey, this is there, I've gotta figure out a way to get around it, circumvent it, so.
Won't give them ideas now, just play the game here.
But that's, hey, they're always one step ahead of us.
Anyhow, I'd like to have the council let them guys look into this where we could mount them. You know, I'm not sure what type of system they need, be wireless, but.
A couple of years ago, we had a meeting with Troutline from Shortstop, and he was telling us that his cameras are, the ones that he got, pretty good,
Okay.
where you can read.
Yeah.
So, and he said that when that meeting, he goes, if you guys need any kind of help with,
Yeah, somebody went by his place.
yeah, that
Yeah.
or getting what kind of cameras he's got and stuff.
Okay.
I think if it, you know, God forbid a child ever disappeared or whatever, and it helped.
But you see it every day
Find
on
that,
TV,
yeah,
that
absolutely.
they're using neighbors' cameras to catch these guys and basically that's all, you know. It would just come back to here, so it's recorded, you know, for what, 36 hours or whatever, 48 hours, 50 hours, whatever. That.
We have some residents with cameras on their property that
Oh, yeah.
catches part of the alley,
Yeah.
part of the street by them. So I mean, just, there'd be another tool for the city to use. I'm not saying that this is for law enforcement to use and to to watch it. We would call them if we have a problem, here's what happened.
It's just out there to protect what's happening now.
Right.
I mean, you see it on Facebook all the time, like, you know, the damage or
Yeah, it's there.
it's there. And the people out there are asking us, I think, to do something.
Well, hopefully we can get some information and bring this back and have a discussion here at the city level. I think it's something to look into once again.
Because I know the guy that's gonna change our light standards, he's putting some antennas on them. He had some certain cameras too.
Yeah, that was an option. We're still not sure on the time frame for
Yeah.
getting all that stuff in. So I'll look into it.
Well, the cost of stuff has gone down dramatically in the last few years too, so you can get fairly,
I mean, even if we find a good camera, we don't have good cameras out at the right side, we can update them if we find something good. And we've had problems out there too.
okay.
Right now, that's,
Anything else, John?
no, just,
Okay. I just want to update the public and the council that North Holmes has pulled out of the Buhl School project and for the mental health services with the children. And the reasons are, number one, as they got further into this and we looked at this across the board, they didn't think they could staff the building. That we were talking over 200 jobs, and they're just saying that the workforce isn't there. And the workforce isn't there. We do know that. So that's one of the reasons they back up. And also was the legislative actions done by the federal government, by the state government. It's really well governed. You've got to watch because what's going on with all this stuff, and it just wasn't compatible with what we wanted to do. And I'm not saying that's dead, but I heard Gary today about we're gonna explore the veterans thing. It's being posted. Ryan gets a call every once in a while for something too, so we're actively marketing that school and trying to do something. I think the veterans, I think there was discussion here a few years ago about that too, so I think it's time we follow up now. I did kind of just put that on the back burner. I thought we had something good going with North Holmes, but once again, they just ran into some major issues that all employers are facing, but then also the federal regulations and the statutes, not only by the feds but by the state. It just made it too hard for them to come in and start from scratch. So that's where we're at with that. So we'll continue trying to market that building. Well, the good news is for some people, calendar parking's over. No, we're done with that. But and I want to remind the residents, they still have the right to run the water a little bit. If you're going to start it new though, you better call in. You know, you better let the city know, and we'll evaluate that at the next meeting and see how much longer we're going to continue with that. So we'll have a report on that at the next meeting. And just remember, last meeting we passed that delinquent utility bill, where it's not 2 months now, it's 1 month, and we'll give you the warning, but you would be open to having your utilities shut off if you're not somewhat current with your bill. And then I talked about this earlier, but as the snow cap is melting and we have our cleanup coming up in June, is at that blight ordinance, we're gonna be following up on that, and that was made clear. People sent information on that. Are we gonna send any more information on that blight?
Yeah, we're gonna send out a newsletter sometime in April.
Okay, and just to let everybody know, so. And then just let everybody know at the next council meeting, I haven't had any customers yet, but I will be available from 6 o'clock till 6:30 prior to the board meetings on the second meeting of every month. I have nothing else, so without further ado, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, motion by Paul, is there support?
Support.
Support by Jim. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.